Action.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncensored Philly Sports Podcast. You got Wayne, Ethan, and Tim in the building. Ephraim, but he's unavailable tonight. It was good that we got our first win streak of the season for the Sixers. Okay. PG came through and ball. Oubre started off good early. McCain had a big night scoring. Oh, here we go. But Maxey came through down the stretch. Maxey made some big plays. He had some free throws. He missed one. But I'm in agreement with everybody in the comments section, and Ethan was making that point all night as well. Nick Nurse almost blew this game. At one point when they was making the run back, there's no reason that he should have had Caleb and KJ Martin and Jared McCain not be in the game. Like, neither one of them was doing all that great a job. Like, what were they in there for, the rebound? And McCain was cooking. You should have had him in the game at some point. And then he also had Kyle Lowry in there way too long. And Nick made a lot of questionable moves in this game, and he almost cost us this game. But PG was a little bit too passive for me down the stretch, too. He made that turnover he made, like looking to trying to feed Yabusele again. Like, just take the shot. You know what I'm saying? You the big money ticket, take the shot. And
he tried to do the no-look, cute pass.
Yeah, exactly. That's not the point to do that. But I will say this, though, about PG. Watching his game tonight, he looks the most healthy I've seen him playing with the Sixers. He looks like a legit 6'9", though. Like when I'm looking at these guys, like when you see these 6'6" guys, 6'7" guys trying to guard him, he's like posting them up and backing them down and using strength on them. And even with some of the shots that when he drove in there, he's creating space. You really can see the size that he does have in his game. But shout out to Maxey, who finished the game off strong. He got a little cheap 2 points at the end, but he hit them free throws. So we'll see where we go from here. What y'all got?
That was a nice little test from a young team, scrappy team. Mellow Ball ain't played tonight. I don't know what's going on with him. But Brandon, what's his name? Brandon Ingram?
Brandon Miller. Miller.
Brandon Miller. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Brandon Miller took 16 threes. He had 7 of them. He was on fire for a hot second. Trying to win that game by himself. 16 threes is a lot of threes, though. But he made 7. That's what's that? 30, between 30 and 40%. Good.
It seemed like he made all of them in the third and fourth.
He did. So, but yeah, Nick Nurse kind of disappointed me this game. Kyle Lowry disappointed. Why is he getting so much? It seemed like they made the run when Kyle Lowry was in there. To me, I think he played him too many minutes. He let the run go on too long.
I agree.
Somebody say he is reminding me of Doc. I don't know. These coaches, I don't know what they be thinking.
No. Wait. Get it right. Not Doc. White Glenn. That's Glenn. Yes, we call him Glenn. Remember?
Yes. Then he was undersized. You know they are very active on offensive boards, and you left us undersized in there too long. They got a lot of second chance points. At one point, the tallest board was PG. I think that was after Yabusele went out when he got hit. It was KJ Martin. It was a small lineup.
Well, PG is taller than Yabusele too, though.
But he ain't big to get nobody out there to get that rebound. You still got to move people. And they had that long center they had in there knocking on them balls around, getting loose balls, getting putbacks. Simpson was very active all over the place. They was hungry. They seemed like they wanted it. But way to fight back with the Sixers, man. Way to Maxey. Maxey struggled the whole game, but when it mattered, he closed them out. Big shots at the end, big free throws. So
was it big shots at the end?
He made that layup.
I mean, you said big shots at the end. It was. He made free throws at the end.
He made that big layup in traffic.
That's true.
Remember I said he got fouled, and he made the shot after that. When you saying he didn't get fouled? Well,
no, I said he did get. I said he did get fouled.
He made the shot right after that.
Yeah. But that's not shots. That's a shot.
The free throws are shots too.
And he also missed one of them. But
what did he miss? 1 out of 6.
I mean, hey, he did. He closed the game out for us. He did.
But I don't. Are we gonna make the playoffs with this roster? I don't know. Something to get excited about. Paul George had his best game in 60 though. He did look healthier than he did in a long time. Wayne, I give you that. But Tim always acts like I tried to let him get in second, but he for some reason he wants to go last. So I'm gonna make him wait a little bit longer. What else you got, man?
I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Tim ain't really got nothing to say. He just gonna come in and try to hype up Doc Rivers some kind of way. Go ahead, Tim.
Well, Doc Rivers' team is actually balling right now. They're like 8-2 in their last 10 games, but that's neither here nor there. Good game.
Because they're healthy.
This is a very good game by the 76ers. I mean, we said we want to see the young boys play, and they playing. I thought Jared McCain had a very good game. Looks like Kelly Oubre had a very good first half. He had 4 3-pointers like in the first quarter. I'm used to him bricking. So
he only took one shot after that, though. That was odd.
Well, he didn't get a lot of minutes after that. I mean, was he in foul trouble? So that's another thing on Nick. My bad. Go ahead, Tim. But that was another thing on Nick. I don't know where Oubre disappeared.
Yeah, Oubre. This is Oubre. Remember, he averaged 20 points with the Hornets a couple years ago. So I mean, he might be familiar with the rims. But I thought he played well that first quarter. Jared McCain, I think it was good probably to let him sit the last couple of games, not playing as much because now for a few games, but now in the last couple of games,
he was still playing. He just was off.
Well, he went to the bench and he didn't play as many minutes. But they're bringing him back in a little bit. And I thought I like what I saw today from him. I like seeing the bull Bonner, the African bull that we got at center. I mean, we had to play him out of necessity, but that's the only way you're gonna get better is playing. You need real time playing.
That man only had 1 rebound. How tall is he?
Jared McCain. Hold on, because Tim be talking reckless. Last 4 games. Tonight he had 22 minutes. Am I looking at this right? The Nets, did he play 39 minutes against the Nets?
What, the last game?
The Nets, that wasn't the last game though, right?
No.
The last game was Detroit.
But can I finish what I was saying?
Go ahead, Tim. Go ahead while Ethan looking at this.
Y'all live fact checking me like it's a presidential debate or something.
That's what we gotta do. That's what we gotta do.
The bull Paul George. I thought Paul George also, it was his best game. It was 4 or 5 from 3-pointer in the first half. And then down the stretch, he was going back and forth with the boy Miller. He comes down, hit a 3-pointer. Miller comes down, hit a 3-pointer. He come back and hit another 3-pointer. So Paul was actually in his bag today. I think he wanted it. I do feel that him and Maxey also was looking to get the assists. I think both of them had 7 assists at one point. They might even have more by the time the game was over. But you saw that Maxey was more concentrated on getting the players involved early on. So you might look at the score and say he ain't scored 26 to 28, but he was really trying to get everybody involved. You saw that clearly. And so
he was off. He was off.
Ethan,
I know what you was looking at. I don't know why they had the thing like that. The game law.
You don't see
it was messed up. You got to go to the ESPN one.
You don't see the assist that Maxey had.
I saw the assist, but Maxey also tried his shots. He was off. His shot was off.
Maxey was trying to get people involved. He was really trying to get everybody. I mean, that's what I saw.
So was PG. Both of them was, and that's why I had a problem with PG down the stretch because he trying to do that. He caused a turnover when he was trying to go to Yabusele, where he should have just shot that pull-up midi that he had been hitting. But I know Maxey was playing floor general, but this is why I think that Jared McCain should have been in the game down the stretch. I'm all for him going to the bench. I said I'm fine with him going to the bench. I like that firepower coming off the bench. But however, when it comes down to it, it's no reason Kyle Lowry should have got that many minutes when Jared McCain was cooking and playing well. And then you got Caleb Martin and KJ Martin. KJ Martin can't hit the side of a barn from outside the paint. He get dunks and they're nice and everything, but his shot looks horrible.
Caleb too.
Yeah.
Everybody Martin should be on a team, just like Ben Jamal.
You can't have both of them out there at the same time, bro. That's when the run was made. You can't have both of them out there.
Caleb, what's the other one? KJ, Doc Martin, whoever. Get them off the floor, man.
Well,
these dudes are trash.
Ain't that the two dudes, Doc Martin?
They're terrible, man. Listen, McCain, low McCain. Look, McCain, very good.
Low who?
I told y'all, McCain he's good. I think he'll be good off the bench for this team. Running the second unit a little bit.
What?
I ain't say that.
No. Y'all argued me down when I said McCain should come off the bench.
No, nobody argued you down about that.
Y'all argued me down when I said McCain should come off the bench.
You got to find that tape.
Chat.
You got to find
the tape. I know where the tape is. Chat. Was I not there? I was being called in the chat. I was being called crazy when I said he should come off the bench and give us that blackout. Thank you, Ephraim.
Listen, McCain will be good. Let him come off the bench. He's a solid role player in the league. Is he a superstar? I don't think so. But can he be a contributor to the team? Yeah. I don't think he's a starter, but coming off the bench, yeah, let's get it, McCain. Nobody be quiet, next man.
I want him to trade bait. I need McCain. We need to focus on him, or let everybody see how good he is, and then use him as trade bait. Because I just think that he would be better. We can get somebody. Why? Because he doesn't work 2 6'2", 6'1" dudes in our backcourt.
You don't have to start.
I don't want him to start.
So now, all right, wait. So you saying that now? You was the main one because we see what Cleveland got with the two small guys in the backcourt. You was the main one arguing me down when I said for him to come off the bench.
That was contingent on Embiid playing. In my mind, Embiid's never going to play again, so I'm not going to have a whole short lineup. So
then he can come off the bench
and use him as trade bait.
You know who the trade bait is. You know who the trade bait is on the team.
No, you could package.
No, KJ Martin is the trade. KJ Martin is the trade bait. That's why they gave him that contract.
That's for contractual reasons. You're going to use him for his salary, but you got to give him something that another team going to want. If we want a valuable piece, we're going to have to give up a valuable piece.
We're not trading McCain. We're not trading McCain.
Why not?
McCain.
Why not?
He's somebody for the future. We trading somebody like Kelly Oubre. That's who we trade.
So y'all want to give up your bums and expect you're going to get something valuable back in return.
You'll get something.
You're not going
to get super valuable from McCain anyway.
You will get super value. He was just player of the month, rookie of the month last year.
You're not going to get the value you should get for him.
Why not?
Caleb Martin. I mean, not Caleb Martin. KJ Martin is because you gave him that contract, which next year, Kelly Oubre and Caleb Martin.
That's how the money works. You're going to use the money of Caleb Martin and maybe some throw-ins that we.
Why would you trade a promising rookie who's showing that he can score, coming off the bench and score, and you're only paying him a rookie contract? Why would you trade him? That's ridiculous.
You are thinking like a homer. I'm thinking about how can we build.
No, you're thinking like an idiot.
The same position you are now with the old Paul George and the old Joel Embiid.
Take that valuable piece and you go get yourself something that's going to make your team better immediately.
Like what?
That is valuable. You want to throw somebody in our trash and expect us to get something valuable.
Like who?
It's not going to work that way.
Like
play general manager. You need to give them something. You need that's what they got to do. We're giving them a top draft pick. We giving them a drop pick and McCain. You give them McCain. He's for some team they're going to look at him as a valuable commodity. Take him and you get something that's going to help your team
for what? For what?
Hey, Dreamer. Now, Dreamer put up. He said trade McCain, Martin, and KJ, and bring back. And I don't know if I give up a first as well as all that for Brandon Ingram. But I love to bring Brandon Ingram on the team.
Hold on.
That's how you. That's visionaries. That's how you think.
You're trading him for what? To be in the 8th seed? To be in the play-in? What is your plan? You think you're going to trade him and then you'll be in the chip? What's your plan?
If you get Brandon Ingram, you give yourself a chance. Like this,
Brandon Ingram's not that good.
Brandon Ingram is
I'll take a Brandon Ingram.
You got Paul George. You gonna play Paul George and Brandon Ingram together?
Why not?
That's not gonna work.
You don't play Oubre? You don't play Oubre and Paul George together?
Brandon Ingram's a different player.
Why? Brandon Ingram's a better player.
He needs the ball.
No, actually, he's not ball.
Yeah. You got Paul George that needs the ball. You got Brandon Ingram that needs the ball. You got Tyrese Maxey that needs the ball.
You saying Paul George needs the ball?
Then you're going to have Joel Embiid that needs the ball. What are you doing?
But you're talking about guys
and none of you do to spot up shooters. Your closest is Paul George.
You're talking about guys that actually do play off ball, that do play facilitate the ball. Like you do have Paul George does pass the ball. He does facilitate. So it's not like he's a ball hog when he gets the ball.
I don't see what y'all trying to accomplish this year by trading McCain
I'm
to
not,
do
oh no, I
what?
agree with you. I don't want to
Do
trade
what?
McCain either. I don't
If
want to
you
trade
trade
him.
Losing
McCain,
the first round, losing the play-in, then you trade away your
McCain will
future.
actually
What are we doing?
and McCain will get you something that is valuable in return.
No,
You're
he
not
won't.
gonna get,
But
why
to
you
do
gonna
No,
say
he
what?
won't.
if
To
he's
He
not
lose?
won't.
valuable, then why would you
Hold up.
keep him then?
Hold up. I'll tell you. I'll
Because
explain
you're
to you
trying
like
to
this.
build a team.
Listen, if you try to make that trade for Brandon Ingram, it
Y'all
won't
are
work. What is
crazy.
Ingram's contract? Caleb Martin. I mean,
I already
KJ
know
Martin
what
doesn't
y'all
get that
saying.
much. He's getting $8 million a year. Oubre is underpaid. Oubre's not getting big money. And then you got the rookie. That salary is not going to match up to bring you in somebody the caliber of a Brandon Ingram. The salary won't match up. And then somebody talking about giving the number one on top of that? No.
Listen, this is
I'm not
my
doing
thing for
that.
this year. My thing for this year is
You made
you have
$36 million
exciting games. You have exciting games like you had tonight. Paul George played well. Maxey played well. What I would try and do at the trade deadline is to try to bring in a legitimate rebounder. This is what this team is missing. A legitimate rebounder or shot blocker, pairing with Maxey and Paul George, and then see what you can do. That's all you can do. Pairing with somebody that can rebound, shot block, let Paul George, Maxey, McCain them do their thing, and then see what happens.
So
Then you
who
make
you bringing in?
adjustments next year. Because
Who you suggesting then?
I don't know. You gotta be the GM. I
What
gotta
I'm-
look. I
What I'm
gotta
saying,
look.
I trade
you
Well, I mean,
I'm
the
saying who do you
names
want? I gotta look and see who's available.
names they've been putting out there was like names like Dorian Finney-Smith. Who else was it? It was a couple guys that they were saying names that the Sixers might actually go after. But I'm not trading McCain. You don't trade a guy that you drafted in the first round who's actually playing for you and can be. Yet you do still need a six. He's a 6-man type. If he coming off the bench, he could be a 6-man of the year type player. So I'm not just going to trade that just to trade it. But I would take a Dorian Finney-Smith. The Sixers are going to go after Dorian Finney-Smith. Watch.
You're trading him for a player that can get you to where you need to be. That's going to take you to the next level. You're trying to get.
But you're also taking away something else that you need on his team, which is scoring off the bench.
When you came in the season, you came in not thinking that he was going to contribute to your team. This is a bonus. This is a bonus. They did not plan on playing him this year.
Then why trade him?
So you can go. So you can accomplish your goal.
If you're not accomplishing that goal, hold on.
What is the goal?
You're not accomplishing that goal without Joel Embiid playing.
Mm-hmm.
See, you can. I told you, you got to treat him.
You're not accomplishing that play.
You thinking you could just plug any old rebounder? You're gonna take away firepower that you have. You gonna take away some firepower that you get. Oubre can still score some. Oubre is active. Oubre does play defense. He's not just straight trash. So you're going to trade Oubre. You're going to trade KJ Martin, and you're going to trade you. And man, come on, bro. Like get out.
Exactly, X-Man. But I heard Joel Embiid was in Maui. Somebody seen he was spotted in Maui.
He's too big to be spotted.
If you seen Embiid, you seen him. It ain't just spotted.
It ain't no X-ray. How you think?
Only way you just spot him is if you're looking at the satellite.
Will Joel Embiid play this year?
Yes.
I'm sorry, he played already. Will he play again this year?
He's they're trying to lower our expectations as low as they can possibly be for Joel Embiid.
I think so too. I mean, listen, the way that I would play it, like I said before, I would sit here and run and see what we could do with the team as it is. I do think they're still setting up to trade somebody. I think Caleb Martin. I think that's why they're trying to feature KJ Martin, because they want to trade him. The whole point in signing him was for the calorie spacing and all that other stuff. So you trade. They're looking to trade him and possibly bring in somebody, like I said, a Dorian Finney-Smith or somebody else. You never know what other. I think it will be. Some people floated. I think Zach LaVine name around and stuff like that. So it's guys that, depending on what the situation looks like during that time. But my thing is, I will play, see if we can get in the playoff contention. Let Joel Embiid get completely healthy, or as healthy as he can be. And then if you're in a position to make a run, then you bring him back. If not, then sit him out and just play for whatever you will get on the draft pick.
The condition that Joel has is not rest doesn't help him. The moment he plays again, because it's bone on bone, it doesn't matter how long you rest him. The moment he plays, he's going to be injured again. He's going to be hurt. So I don't understand what they're doing.
Who told you it was bone on bone?
That's
something Tim made up in his mind.
That's what a meniscus. That's what it is. It's the stuff in between the knee and the bone that's rubbing together. When that's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, Charlie, I agree that we probably. I'm just saying Levine was one of the names I've seen floated. Hey, listen, I'm fine with him. If that's why I said if Embiid cannot play again, then don't play him. But what I'm saying is
if he can't play again ever.
No, I'm saying this season. The Sixers knew. The Sixers know whatever his condition is. The Sixers knew what it was. They knew what it was before they signed him to that big contract. So I don't think that they. Yeah, we gonna pause that bone on bone, but I don't think that it was something that they felt like it was something where he won't be able to play again, or they wouldn't have gave him that extension, or they're complete idiots. But they did know that he was hurt like that. That's why they had this whole plan in place. Like Nick Nurse said, this was the plan from the beginning. This season was to play him sparingly because his knee was still swelling up and stuff. But I don't think that they think that this is something that's like a for good type thing. So my thing, like I said, let him get completely healthy. If he can get completely healthy this season, and then you bring him in.
He will
then
never
fine. Then you
be healthy.
Then if this team is not going to be good enough to make the playoffs, because whatever patch you trying to put in right now is not going to be it's not the plan.
Nick Nurse said Joel Embiid is probably out tomorrow too against Orlando.
Oh dang!
Oh, we are back to back. Maybe that's why he was trying to run. Maybe that's why he was trying to play the roster.
Do y'all think the Sixers is helping the situation by saying putting Joel Embiid out for knee management and personal reasons?
No, I don't think that helps.
And personal reasons in there saying Joel Embiid is out. To me, that's help. That's turning the fans against Joel Embiid when you put personal reasons in there.
I agree.
That's idiotic.
That's why I say, like if it's health reasons, then be honest. That's been my problem with the Sixers this whole season with everything. Be upfront with it. I think Tim was saying the same thing. Like just be upfront with it. Like say, you know what I'm saying? If he's out for that, then say he's out for that. If his knee is still hurt, don't just say, oh, he has to play himself back into shape. No, tell us if his knee is still damaged, then say his kney is damaged instead of trying to sell these dreams.
Let me ask you this.
No, they say he's on his way to having a baby. So, and I think one of y'all posted it. If that's the case, I don't have a problem if he's
been on his way to having a baby for 2 weeks.
No, it just became personal like yesterday.
Now it's personal last game too. Personal last game. Game before this one's personal too.
Wow. It is one of these babies though.
If Joel Embiid never plays again because of these knees, Daryl Morey then did the most worst re-signing of a player in the history of sports.
Oh, I agree. And he's not doing that signing without the whole organization checking off on it. And I
can't remember a player being signed and then he never plays again. This dude might not ever play again for the Sixers.
What about Andrew Bynum? Did we do that to Andrew Bynum?
No, he was already signed.
No, we traded for Andrew Bynum.
Oh, we traded for a player that never played.
Yeah, but he was signed already. We didn't just
Phil said, hey, Ethan, Phil said Joker was out 12 days for a baby.
You just re-signed him.
Ethan said he ain't even calling out of work for a baby being born. He'll see the baby at the work.
Oh yeah,
and he got like 5 kids.
I'm pushing the baby out. I ain't pushing the baby out. What you doing?
You don't think?
First of all,
you don't think the woman needs support?
First of all, I was there for every one of my pregnancies. Let's start.
You
and I even pulled any one of her pregnancies. Every one of
her.
That
was the same size. You ain't pulling.
I was there, like that. And I even pulled the baby out. That's how it sounded when it.
Biblical court and everything. He was like, Martin, he ain't tested Jordan across the room.
But when you pay somebody this, and you know there's a chance they might not play because their knees are done, that's the biggest goof in history. That's the biggest goof in history.
But here's the thing, though. What it says about Embiid that he demanded a contract extension this year, like he demanded because did
he demand it or did they?
He demanded a contract extension.
How you know that?
Because there's no reason why you would sign him.
Where you get? No, it is a reason.
He demanded a contract extension.
How do you? Or is this speculation, or do you have something where you saw somebody say he demanded?
Yes, he demanded a contract extension.
Where you see that?
Mr. Goldfinger.
Who reported that?
Goldfinger. We talked about the game. We talked about a lot of game, man. Maxey played well. You want to recap for you, Goldfinger? Maxey played well. Maxey played well in the fourth. Paul George, great, probably best game as a Sixer tonight. Yabusele on the boards. Nick Nurse is a trash coach. Probably needs to be fired this weekend. And Joel Embiid never play again because his knees is shot. All right, that's the recap. Now you caught up. Join the conversation.
And I like the
now. Hold up, people talking about Maxey now, but I don't think that Maxey. I'm not going to say that Maxey can't be a franchise player just because he's going through a rough stretch. Maxey's still only 23. See, that's the only thing about with these players coming in the league so young now. Maxey is still only 23 years old. He's still only 23. Like, that's not to say that he can't. That's like, for real, De'Aaron Fox. It wasn't until like he was a few years into the league when people were just saying, "Oh, that's all he is," and he took his game to another level. These boys is young, man. Like, that's why I don't trade Jared McCain right now and saying, "Oh, I want to try to get a quick patch fix." Like, you keep the young one off the bench and develop.
You got a viable commodity, and this is the opportunity.
No, what you got to look at. What you got to look at now is putting somebody with Maxey. That's what you need to look at now.
At 6'4", 6'5" guard, they go next to Maxey.
But you got
in your commodity, in your trade commodity.
Do you get the keys to Maxey right now?
What is that?
Got to.
I might play for a lottery pick next year and see what
happens. So then the lottery pick is going to come in and be the key. Then you're going to get the keys to the lottery pick.
Our lottery pick.
You might get Cooper.
OKC owns our lottery pick.
You might get not a top 6 protected.
Yeah. So you will take that gamble. A waste of season for
you might get Cooper. You might get a legitimate person to turn the keys to. So we already we second in the league, second, third. Just have fun.
I'm not counting Maxey out as being
put stats up. And then listen, this is what you do. See how Maxey do when you get the keys to him. This the year you get the keys to him. See if it's worth it. See if you can.
Y'all see the stuff. Y'all see the stuff I go through. Remember, just like last year when I was saying Maxey not ready yet. Maxey, best player on the team. Maxey, we build around Maxey. Dude, now we talk about tanking and bringing in Cooper Flagg and letting him be the number one and Maxey all the number. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Maxey is a hooper.
This is the thing, Phil. Evans. You could have like a Tatum and a Brown. Neither one of them at a point you said you can get a keys to. Everybody anointed Tatum, but everybody knew Brown was playing better at one point. Tatum balling this year, but you can have that Tatum-Brown type combination.
And you could also tank and then end up being like the number 6, and it goes to OKC and you get no draft pick this year.
We'll see. We'll take that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Well, that's how I feel about the Sixers in the playoffs. You let them keep on playing now, and if Embiid can be healthy enough to play, then you bring him back. See, my thing is when y'all sitting there and y'all saying like you just want a player, you want a player that can rebound. But if you're saying all right, but you're saying just bringing a player that can do rebounds or blocks and this, that, and other, you can bring in a Joel Embiid who's injured that can still do these things. We not talking about you might not get superstar Joel Embiid. But even at an injured pace, like when he was against the Knicks, he scored 30 points a game. You still can have this dude who, as not being the greatest he's been, can still be a solid player. And you talking about trading all these pieces to bring in a player that'll only be as good as Embiid is when he's injured. Like, that makes no sense to me.
Listen, I think it's time you stop with the Joel Embiid gonna come back thing, and you start trying to build this team a little differently. With maybe Joel will come back, but you don't build this team with Joel's coming back. This team gonna be built around Joel, so when he come back, you can't work like that now. You gotta build what's here. Maxey plays, Paul George plays, McCain plays. This is who you start. Then you start putting pieces in around these dudes. When B comes back, he has to fit in around them.
I agree with you completely.
It ain't fitting around Joel. Joel has to learn to fit in around these dudes because there's no more Joel as the center of your team. You don't play enough.
Listen, I'm not arguing that point. The point that I'm making is if we're talking about just getting rid of guys to bring in somebody that's still only going to be as good as Embiid is when he's injured, that makes no sense. And if Joel Embiid is that type of player or whatever, then when he comes in here, if he's not able to play at that, because we saw he came in against Memphis and he still dropped, what was it, like 30 and 11? So I mean, if Joel Embiid
We
is that
also saw
dominant
him
of a
drop
player,
like 13
if
and
jo-
11
if Joel
points.
Embiid is that dominant of a player, when he comes in, once
Not.
he plays, it'll
He's
show
not.
anyway. But if it don't,
He's
you don't come in.
not.
My thing is, you don't come in and make it like you try to force him to be that guy. You bring him in to play within the system, and if you're that good, you're going to stand out regardless.
I would look at bringing the bull from Chicago back. I'll bring Chicago in here. Vukovic, what's his name?
Vukovic.
Yeah.
Ain't Vukovic who we traded when?
Yeah.
Ain't Vukovic who we traded? So we traded him so we could keep your boy Spencer Hawes. Remember, you used to be hype on Spencer Hawes.
You gonna bring him back?
Yeah, we traded him for Spencer Hawes. You like Spencer Hawes, didn't you?
Would you bring him back? That's not the question.
That's the question I'm asking.
You can't reply with a question. With a question, he's going to answer.
Why not?
I guess you're not going to answer that.
Bring Vukovic back. I wouldn't mind bringing him back, but I'm not bringing him back to replace Joel Embiid. I don't think that he's that type of talent that you replace Embiid with him.
You're moving on from Joel. Nobody can replace him, Joel Embiid, but you got to move on, man. Joel Embiid.
No, you don't have to move on.
Huh?
The bottom line is,
who's to say he can't play anymore?
We have to get a taller guard right next to Maxey. You cannot have them two in the backcourt. Same thing with Monte Ellis and Stephen Curry. When they both was in the backcourt, Monte Ellis was averaging 25 points a game. He was the star of that team, and then you had Steph Curry. I see the star as being Maxey. I see a valuable commodity as being McCain. Take McCain so we can get that 6'4", 6'5" Klay Thompson type player playing next to Maxey. That's where you have your foundation in your backcourt.
That's what Jared McCain is. Jared McCain is 6'3".
Jared McCain is 6'1".
He's 6'2".
That's fake. I saw the boy last week. Last week proved it all to me. When I saw the boy Jalen Green of Houston, he towered over both Maxey and McCain. And he's 6'4". He's 6'4".
Like Phil said, I agree with Phil. It will be a 1-year tank, and you'll be right back next year, regardless of who you got in the draft. It'll be a 1-year tank. You got the players that if you got in the regular season, not focus on building this thing around Joel Embiid and go with who you got, I think we'll be a good team next year.
But you need a center. You don't have a center right now.
Trade for Vuk. Look, Drummond, I like that. Drummond, KJ, Caleb for Vuk. I'm all in with that. He'll get you rebounds. He can even hit the three. He defend. I get him. Put him right.
So how tall is Maxey? What Maxey? 5'7"? What Maxey? 5'7", 5'8"? Because McCain taller than Maxey.
And they short. They're not that. They
both
no.
6'1".
McCain is taller than him.
They both 6'1".
Okay.
They both and that means they're Maxey about 6 feet. They just giving them 2 inches. What I'm saying, you're not going to win in the league. They're not that elite of whatever they do. They're not that great where you can have them in the backcourt together.
But you keep saying, and my point is they don't have to be in the backcourt. You do know, like sometimes every first round draft pick is not a superstar. You know that, right? Sometimes your first round draft pick is a very good role player.
You're willing to sacrifice everything. You can get yourself a starter, but you don't want to give up a role player, a bench player for a premier starter if you can.
You're not going to get it. The contracts are not going to match up. The Sixers are cap strapped with Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George contracts. You don't got the cap space to go out there and bring in another big contract.
You can make it work. That's why we got a lot of expiring contracts on our
and right it's still now. Not going to make up. It's still not going to make up that.
You can. Look, I mean,
Vukovic is on a 3-year, $60 million contract.
$20 million a year.
Yeah, I think we can make that work with some trade. KJ, what KJ Martin?
And then Vukovic go to KJ making 8. So why would Chicago take KJ?
Who?
Young players. They trying to do some young talent.
You think Chicago will be tanking? Because the only reason the team would take KJ is
Chicago trying to move them dudes they got. They trying to move Vuk and they trying to move who's the guard.
You talking about I just mentioned him earlier. You know who it is.
Yeah.
Levine.
No, we're not talking about trading B to Chicago. We just talking about bringing in Vooch. Not even trading B. Nobody's going to trade B because he's not going to pass. Nobody's going to trade for Joel Embiid because he's not going to pass the physical. So
I
we're not even
guarantee you
talking
somebody
about,
would take Joel Embiid.
he's not going to
I
pass
bet
the
you.
physical. They're not going to take him. I promise you they won't take him.
I bet you LA would take him to put him next to AD.
And he's not going to play. He's not going to play. You keep acting like he's not going to play. Not with this.
Same thing people said about AD.
He's not going to pass a physical.
Okay.
The Sixers brought 6 doctors in here so they can hear one of the 6 say he might make it through the year. And that's what they got, so they signed him.
And the last
no
year,
other team's going to do that.
The last year of Embiid's contract has him making $69 million. That's the final year.
Nobody's trading for that.
Okay.
B is untradeable and unplayable. What are you doing? Okay. What are we doing?
Okay.
That's just free money. That's why Morey should be fired tomorrow.
We'll see.
He should be.
We'll see.
He should be.
Saying that he can't play and he's this, that, and other, but he comes in when he plays and he scored 30 and 11, but he can't play.
And then the next game he's out. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. He can come and give you 30, 35.
Oh, he's definitely damaged goods. He's definitely damaged goods. I agree. But if you don't think that anybody in this league, I guarantee you Golden State is still taking.
Why?
They're not going to take him when he is. Joel,
okay.
I promise you, Joel Embiid will not pass a physical. No, they're going to look at this dude's knees and say, how are you even walking? I'm not trading for him.
And you're a doctor and you know this.
They said the Sixers brought in 6 doctors to look at him. That tells you they knew it was a problem. The Sixers said, we knew it was a problem with his knees, but we thought, listen to the words, we thought we could manage it with missing it. Nobody's bringing that in.
Okay.
The Golden State is not the organization to bring that in. Miami's not the organization to bring that in. No, Lakers aren't bringing that in. And Joel Embiid.
X-Men didn't Toronto trade for somebody that was like that and won a championship? So don't tell me no one trades for that kind of player.
First of all, he played double the amount of games. It was 60. And secondly,
he played 60-some games that year.
And they traded for him on expiring. He didn't even re-sign with them. It was like
hey, listen, like I told you, I'm fine with if they could get rid of that. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with whatever for all the Sixers fans that want to hate on it and this, that, and other. I'm fine with it. We see what they are without Joel Embiid, but I don't think that to sit there and say he can't and you don't know that. You're not a doctor.
I got a question. What are we with Joel Embiid? What are we with? You said you know what we are without him. What are we with him?
We're still a contender with him.
How? What are we contending for?
What you mean? You're a contender.
We're in a second round exit.
With the team as stands, you're not a second round exit with Embiid.
What are we with him?
With Paul George, Maxey Bede, and McCain, I do think that you can.
First of all, why? Hold on. Wayne keeps saying we hate. We're not. How are we hating on Joel Embiid and he can't play? That's not hating on him. That's just stating the facts.
Where did I say y'all was hating on him? I didn't say the word hate.
You said all y'all Sixers fans hating on Joel Embiid.
I wasn't talking about y'all, but I'm talking about the people that's talking about don't play him and this, that, and that. It's ludicrous to me where he still can put up points. He still can play when healthy. But I do agree with you that the health is a factor. But if the team signed off on that, I refuse to believe that the whole organization looked at it and 5 doctors said that he can't, that his knees is done and he'll never be able to play like that again. And one doctor said there's a chance, and they gave him all this money just off of one doctor against 6. And if they did that, this organization need to be burned.
Yeah, burn him. Burn him.
Morey.
Burn him. First of all, why would you? He already had a year left on his contract. They was against the wall.
He had 2 years left on his contract. 2.
So okay.
So they wasn't against the wall.
There was no reason to even sign him. There was no reason to even sign him that fast.
And that's why I gotta believe that they don't. That's why I gotta believe that they don't think that his knees is done. I gotta believe
Joel Embiid's agent pushed it because he knew if he waited another year, this would happen, and he wouldn't get paid. So in order for him to get paid, he had to push that issue and push up that signing.
Okay, but if he pushed that issue and the Sixers brought in all these doctors, you're telling me that the whole organization said, "Oh, we see his knees are done, but we're going to give him an extension when we don't even have to give him an extension." I don't believe that.
Why would you see a half a dozen doctors if everything's okay?
I ain't saying that it's okay, but you do get second opinions and you get a collective opinion on it. So are you telling me all five? So you telling me five of the doctors said his knees was done, and one said he's okay, and they gave him an extension to that amount.
They said the Sixers used 6 doctors to look at Embiid.
Right. So you don't get more. The more opinions you get is not better.
No, because you got different.
No, this is what happens. This is in my opinion. The team doctor said his knees is done. Sixers said, you know what? Let's get a bunch of doctors in here, and maybe they got 4, or maybe they got 3 and 3 split and said you can do it with management, and they said, all right, let's roll the dice. Maybe they got 4 that said yeah, and 2 that said no, and they said, you know what? We're gonna roll the dice. They said we can handle it with manage. We can handle it with management because now I guess surgery's out the option because his knees are what they are. But I'm not banking. The Sixers said they knew they had to handle it this way. I'm not banking. That was dumb to sign him.
I agree if that's the case. Yes. But hey, Assassin, I'm fine. I'm fine if we're going to trade him, if we're going to get rid of him. I said it. If we're going to trade him, get rid of him. I want the Sixers to win. So if you're going to trade him and bring in the better pieces that's going to fit here, if you're going to trade him and you bring in a Bam, send him down there to play with Jimmy and Embiid is done or whatever, and you bring in a Bam and you get some other pieces, I'm fine with that. I want the Sixers to win. But I'm looking at it as of right now, just getting rid of Joel Embiid right now. People talking about, you got people in here that were talking about getting rid of Embiid just for hating, even when he was in his prime. So this when I say when people just hating to hate. I'm fine with trading anybody on this roster if it's going to make us a contender.
Nobody. First of all, Embiid's untradeable. We're not talking about trading Joel Embiid. We know we have to sit with Joel Embiid to see what happens because no other team is trading for this dude. Because
he's stuck.
What you have to do is, if Joel Embiid comes back, he comes back, but you got to start building this team differently. Is my point.
I agree. I agree with that point.
You just got to start building around the young players. See what you build around Maxey, PG, since he's still relatively happy. Start building around that, man. See what you got. Joel Embiid, you can't do it no more.
No, I agree with you. That's why I'm saying you go with what you got, and if he can come back and play, then you plug him in there, but you don't put him in. I agree with you. You don't put him in there and say, you're the focal point. We're going to build around you. You put him in there as a talent and make him fit in.
No, not trading Embiid. You actually got to, no one's going to trade Embiid. You got to trade McCain. You got to trade McCain and try to get somebody, a power forward or a wing, somebody, or a shooting guard. You got to do something. But what's not going to work is what we got now. And this is what the Sixers actually said. They said he signed a $192 million extension on top of the existing years that he have left in his current deal. They said the doctor said his knee could be adequately managed by a combination of strategic rest and procedures. What are procedures? So you got to get procedures done and rest in order for this deal to work. As he gets older.
But you're complaining about him getting the rest now and possible procedure. You're complaining about it. But if the doctors told you that it could be managed with that and they saw it worth the risk. So don't tell me the doctor sit there and said that his knees is done and he can't do nothing. All I'm saying is if the doctors told you that it could be managed and it could be done, you can't get Lauri Markkanen. They just re-signed him. They just signed Lauri Markkanen to a big time contract.
We should have never.
I wanted Lauri Markkanen. I think the Sixers did too, but Utah wasn't trading him.
Because he could have actually been a substitute for Embiid when Embiid didn't play.
Hey, Master Craft, this ain't hard to understand. Let me break it down to you. A team, an NBA player, especially like Joel Embiid, and the money you get in him, is a commodity for a team, and it's an investment. You're investing in Joel Embiid. So as a team, an owner might say, "Yeah, I want him." The general manager say, "Yeah, I want him." When they go, you know what they do after the trade? You know what they do? A doctor comes and examines Joel Embiid. If he fails the exam, guess what? The trade is voided. Do anyone in their right mind think right now Joel Embiid will pass any type of physical exam?
No, he definitely ain't.
So what do we? Yeah, anybody could say, "Yeah, I want Joel Embiid. I'll take him." But when it comes down to stop putting your name on that document for bad knees, no team is doing that. Except maybe the Philadelphia 76ers.
But as Tim just said, see, you said the doctor said Embiid knees is done. Tim just said They said the doctors said, and when they talked to the doctor said that it could be managed with procedures and rest.
They
And
said
that was the goal
maybe
coming in.
they think. See, this is what they said. If you listen to, if
Okay.
you read the whole, they said
Okay.
maybe, and they think it could be managed like that. They're not
Mhm.
sure. What they said was, and Nick Nurse said it. Joel Embiid has to play again, so we see what happens with his knee. After he played this time, his knee swelled up and everything. He had to rest. He said he has to play again, so we see again what happens with the knee. So this is going to be game to game. Every time he plays, you're going to see how the knee reacts after he plays.
Now, Brandon Ingram, he's going to be a free agent next year. So if they're not trying to pay him right now, they may be willing to give him up at the deadline so they can get something for him. So we feel that Brandon Ingram could be a guy that can help us get over the top. Why wouldn't you give up a young McCain to get him, knowing that he's not going to resign with New Orleans?
Because as of right now, you can't just trade McCain for Brandon Ingram. And to Ethan's point, if you're trading them, bringing Brandon Ingram in here going to make you a team that could beat the Celtics?
That's what more we have to decide. Will it? That's what we got.
But we're telling you no, it won't. And I like Ingram, but just bringing Brandon Ingram in with this team, bringing Brandon Ingram in with this team is not going to make us compete.
That's the same man that believed that the team that he put together was able to compete with them. So all of a sudden, he's not going to believe that adding Ingram with the team that he comprises now.
I don't know what Tim be saying some off the wall stuff.
What? How am I
we play again tomorrow. Joel Embiid won't play tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see tomorrow. Yo, he's definitely not playing tomorrow.
The boy Julius Randle's up next year.
I don't want him, man. What are we doing?
You need a center. You need a center. We don't have.
I think we got a center.
Who?
We do.
Who's the center?
Who's our center?
Joel Embiid. According to Wayne.
I see y'all tomorrow.
No, but you talking about building around somebody else. If that's the case, then yeah, Embiid gonna play. Yes. You just was talking about some. Wait, you just was talking about there's not enough balls to go around. No, Diddy. You talking about that? But then you talking about bringing in Julius Randle. Julius Randle is going to be a ball hog more than anybody on the team.
I think our best option is bringing Vukovic.
I'm naming you some 2025 free agents, people that's going to be available where you may be able to get them at the deadline. One of them is Julius Randle, one being Ingram,
and one being
Miles Turner from Indiana. These are all guys that's going to be available. Jonathan Kuminga.
Miles Turner. If you could get Miles Turner, I think Miles Turner will be a good fit for the team.
What about the boy Josh Giddey? He was like up and coming.
No, you need a big man. You need a center.
Yeah, you need a big man.
I think you need a nice tall guard.
No, you don't. You don't have. When we go against these teams that have a certifiable big man, there's nothing that we can do with this lineup now. That's the problem. I like Yabusele and all that. They're not big enough.
Crazy thing is, we had a 6'4" guard, and
you keep talking about 6'4" guards. We don't have a center.
Why? That's your man. You what you forgot about? You forgot about Embiid.
But you telling me he's not going to play. Now, if you're telling me to go alongside of Embiid.
We don't have a center. So
you telling me to go alongside of Embiid? You talking about going alongside of Embiid?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
No, I said we need a 6'4" guard.
To go along with Embiid. To go alongside of Embiid.
A 6'4" guard to go alongside Maxey.
That's going to with Embiid playing.
Yeah,
but you also saying, but if you talking about Embiid's not going to be playing, and are you saying Embiid's not going to play and he can't play and all this other stuff? So then why are you even wasting your time going to get a 6'4" guard if the 6'4" guard only works if you have a true center?
6'4" guard with a 6'2" Maxey will work.
Not without a center, it won't. No, because it's still small.
It'll work. It's a lot better than what we got now. 6'2", 6'2".
It ain't much better.
Yes, it was, because you still got a 6'8" Paul George. You got a 6'8" Paul George, and you got a 6'4", 6'4".
And so, what you going to do when you're going against Cleveland that has a 6'9", 6'10", what's his name, and then they got the other boy that's 7 foot.
We still got
Evan Mobley.
We still got Bona.
And what you gonna do when you go against Boston? What you gonna do when you go against Indiana that has Miles Turner? What you gonna do when you go against New York who has Cat?
I thought you just said Embiid was gonna be playing games and he's gonna be managed. So you're saying you're counting him out then? Because I'm telling you, I'm not counting him out, but clearly you're counting him out.
Now I just asked you if you're talking. I said if you're talking about playing that alongside with Embiid, okay, I see what you're saying. But then you said, well, even without Embiid, that makes us better. No, you if you don't have a center, having a 6'4" point guard or 2 guard ain't gonna matter.
So you're saying get an Embiid replacement
if he's not going to play. And my point is, if you're not going to have Embiid play, you're not going to find somebody that's going to replace and play as good as Embiid. Even with Embiid being injured, Embiid still against New York, he still averaged 30 and 11 on a bad knee. On the bad knee, he averaged 30 and 11.
So on a bad knee, if Joel Embiid is there, since you claim he's going to be there, then you fine, count him in. And no one is going to trade for Embiid. No one in the world will trade for Embiid.
Okay.
So when he,
but they can't trade Embiid anyway because of how the contract is. They can't trade him right now.
And that's what I'm saying. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm looking for a backcourt mate for Tyrese Maxey. That's my number one concern right now. We need a back. We got our wing and Paul George. He can't go nowhere. So you got your 6'8", you got your wing, your small forward. That's what Paul George. What we need right now is somebody who's going to complement Paul from Tyrese Maxey. Because even
who's this 6'4"? Who's this 6'4" guard you going to get?
That's what we got to find out. I told you what I wanted. I wanted the boy that they traded from Atlanta.
Murray. You talking about Murray?
Yeah, DeJounte. He would have been the perfect fit right next to
Why? How did he work going alongside Trae Young?
It doesn't matter. I'm talking about Maxey. He's an extra point. You had 2 point guards. Tyrese Maxey is not a point guard. That's why it didn't work. They both was ball hogs. You want somebody that's dominant with the ball. That's DeJounte Murray. He's going to be able to distribute it. He's a very good defender. Him and Maxey would have been a great backcourt. Then you got Paul George.
Joel Embiid had bad knees against New York, and he wasn't the reason we lost to New York.
You said who? Yes,
Joel Embiid had bad knees. He was. He averaged 30 and 11.
Joel Embiid did not show up at the end of that series.
He averaged 30 and 11. Why? In that last game? He didn't show up in the last game either?
Joel didn't do it. That last game was fraudulent. Everybody know that.
You just said he didn't show up in the last game. Now you're going to say it's fraudulent.
He didn't show up. That wasn't prime time. That wasn't real time.
He averaged 30 and 11.
I saw the series, though.
I did too. And they couldn't. I did too. And whenever Embiid went to the bench, we got routed.
You know good and well, Joel Embiid was not that force to be reckoned with in that New York series. So stop. And he was going to be backups. He was going to be backups.
Whenever he went to the bench, we got routed. That's what I know in that series.
All right. Anyway.
All right.
I want y'all to like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all hit that notification bell. We'll be right back tomorrow. Who we play tomorrow?
I'll do it to it matter. Listen, I agree. Embiid Mike can't play a whole season. That's why I said if we get to the playoffs and he can play with the lineup that we got, that's why I said let the Sixers play until he get as healthy as he can get. You let everybody else play, and if we can't make the playoffs, fine. We go with the lottery and see where it go from there. But if we can play and end up getting into the playoffs and we can play to be in the playoffs, then let's see what happens.
I like my chance.
Right.
I think the boy McCain is probably the most valuable piece that we can offer. We didn't count on him. It's not like we thought he was going to be part of the process of us winning a championship this year. Use him, and then see if we can get something really good.
So trade a player that you see is a good player that could possibly be. See, this is the thing I'm saying about, and I get what you're saying. I'm not saying McCain is a franchise player and all this other stuff. Sometimes we get caught up when players get drafted. It's plenty of players that was drafted in the first round and number 1. Wiggins was drafted as the number 1 overall pick, wasn't he? And he's a solid role player. And for years, people were talking about how trash Wiggins was, but Wiggins was actually a decent player putting up decent numbers. Every time you draft somebody in the first round, they don't automatically go on to be franchise players. They don't. Sometimes you just have guys that end up being good players. They could be a 6th man of the year, like Lou Will, who was drafted late in the first round, around the same place where McCain was drafted. You can end up getting guys that are a quality part of your team just because they're not a superstar player don't mean you got to hurry up and get rid of them as a draft pick.
I'm not saying everywhere. I'm saying getting somebody valuable. Right now, you got Paul George, who is 6'8", 6'9", and he's on a $200 million deal, and he's older. And then you got Joel Embiid, who's on a $300 million. He got what we owe him $300 million. So we owe him $300 million. So I'm saying we got all these players that they're gonna have to play. They're not going anywhere. So you got to build a team around Joel, Paul George, and Maxey.
I agree, but you don't have to trade McCain.
He's the valuable. He's the big piece that's going to give you a better fit.
No, he's actually not. He's not. Because for one, cap space, he doesn't quantify you bringing in that kind of a player.
You're not trading one for one. You're trading a bunch of these expiring contracts that we hired the board.
So you're saying trade all your value to put into one guard to go alongside Maxey. And you're not even saying what kind of contract. Who wants Gordon? Ain't nobody. See, you saying
they can let him go. They can sign him, or he'll never play for the team. That's $3 million. Kyle Lowry, $3 million.
I'm not trading McCain right now.
CJ Martin, his name. I'm calling him. KJ Martin. He's $8 million.
Then guess what? Then you could add up all them bum on them contracts. If somebody just want for the contract space, then you give them all those contracts, and because it's going to be a team that's rebuilt, then you give them that.
You got to give up something.
You giving them cap space.
No, they may not need them if they over the cap, or if they way over the cap. The cap is not going to be enough for them. They need a commodity, a piece. We're taking a piece from them. We need a piece from them. We're giving them a piece. They take and then they giving us a piece. That's how it works.
So now you're saying that we give them we giving them a piece, a young piece, and we giving them a whole bunch of other expiring contracts, which are other pieces that you can make moves with to get one player back from them.
For us to put us over the top or put us so that we can contend for a championship. Yes, that's called being a general manager.
Okay. I don't see it the same way you do, but okay.
That's how every team sees it. But listen,
evidently it's not.
Hit that notification bell. We're going to catch you on the next podcast.
Peace. Thanks for joining us.
I'm always.
See y'all tomorrow.